Time is a silent traveler, always moving, never stopping, never waiting for anyone. One day you wake up and realize you are not as young as you used to be. The mirror reflects a version of you that has lived, that has seen, that has experienced. The face staring back is not just skin and bone. It is a map of your journey, a testament to the life you have lived. But here's the question that haunts so many. Is aging a curse or is it a gift? Society tells you that youth is everything. Advertisements scream, stay young, look young. But what if I told you that growing older is one of the most powerful, beautiful, and liberating experiences you will ever have? Because aging is not about losing, it's about gaining. Gaining wisdom, gaining perspective, gaining an understanding of what truly matters in life. Yet many fear it. They see aging as an end rather than a beginning. They focus on what they are leaving behind instead of what they are stepping into. Time is the most precious currency you will ever have. Unlike money, possessions, or status, time is the one thing you can never earn back once it's spent. Every second that passes is gone forever, never to return. And yet so many people live their lives as if time is infinite, as if they have all the years in the world to chase their dreams, mend their relationships, and become the person they were meant to be. The reality of getting old is not just about the physical changes, but about the realization that time has been moving all along, whether you acknowledged it or not. When you are young, time seems endless. Days feel long and years stretch out ahead of you, full of possibilities. You don't think about aging because it seems so far away, like a distant destination you will never actually reach. But as the years go by, something shifts. You begin to notice how quickly a year passes, how birthdays arrive faster than before, how moments that once seemed insignificant now carry a sense of nostalgia. You start to understand that time is not waiting for you. It never has. This is where the real danger lies, not in aging itself, but in the illusion that time is abundant. So many people waste years on things that do not matter, chasing approval from others, dwelling on past mistakes, living in fear of failure. They postpone their dreams, telling themselves, I'll do it someday. But someday is not promised. Someday is an illusion. Before they know it, the years have passed and they are left with regrets, wishing they had used their time differently. It's not that growing older takes away your time, it's that the way you spend your time determines the value of your life. People often say they don't have enough time, but the truth is, they do. They just spend it on the wrong things. Hours are lost scrolling through meaningless distractions, worrying about opinions that don't matter, or waiting for the perfect moment to start something. The reality is, time will pass whether you use it wisely or not. The only difference is what you have to show for it. When you truly understand that time is your most precious currency, everything changes. You start to see that every single day is a gift, an opportunity to do something meaningful. You stop taking moments for granted. You no longer put off telling people you love them because you realize you may not get another chance. You stop waiting for the right time to chase your dreams because you understand that the right time is always now. You become more intentional with your life because you recognize that every moment you waste is a moment you will never get back. Think about the strongest, most successful, most fulfilled people in the world. What do they all have in common? They respect time. They don't just let life happen to them. They take control of their days, knowing that how they spend their hours determines their future. They don't waste time complaining, holding grudges, or waiting for circumstances to be perfect. They use every day as a stepping stone to become the person they were meant to be. But what about those who reach the later years of their life and feel regret? They are the ones who spent too much time worrying about things that didn't matter, too much time waiting instead of acting, too much time fearing change instead of embracing it. They are the ones who wake up one day and realize that time has slipped through their fingers like sand and they can never get it back. This is the true cost of taking time for granted. The greatest tragedy is not aging. It's reaching the end of your life and realizing that you never truly lived. Time is not your enemy. It is your greatest asset, and how you choose to spend it will determine whether you look back with joy or with regret. Aging is a natural process, yet society often portrays it as something to be feared, resisted, or even reversed. From a young age, people are conditioned to believe that youth equals beauty, power, and worth. Advertisements, media, and cultural expectations reinforce the idea that growing older is a slow decline, a process of losing rather than gaining. Wrinkles are seen as flaws, gray hair is something to be hidden, and the aging body is viewed as something that must be constantly fixed. But this perception is not just misleading, it is entirely false. Aging is not a curse, it is a gift. It is not the loss of something valuable, but the accumulation of something even greater. With age comes experience, and with experience comes wisdom. The older you get, the more you have seen, felt, and understood. The mistakes of youth become lessons that shape a stronger, wiser version of yourself. The insecurities that once held you back begin to fade as you realize that so many of the things you once worried about were never really important. The need for external validation lessens because you start to understand your own worth, independent of anyone else's opinion. While youth may be full of energy and excitement, it is also filled with uncertainty. As you age, you gain clarity about who you are and what truly matters in life. One of the greatest advantages of growing older is the ability to see life with a broader perspective. When you are young, you often get caught up in the moment, overwhelmed by emotions, easily affected by small setbacks. But as you age, you begin to understand the bigger picture. You realize that challenges pass, that hardships make you stronger, and that many of the things that once seemed like the end of the world were just temporary obstacles. This shift in perspective allows you to navigate life with more patience, resilience, and grace. There is also a deep sense of freedom that comes with age. In youth, people often feel the pressure to fit in, to prove themselves, to meet the expectations set by others. But as you grow older, you start to let go of those pressures. You realize that you do not need to seek approval from everyone, that you do not have to live according to someone else's definition of success, and that true happiness comes from living authentically. This freedom allows you to embrace life in a way that is deeply fulfilling without the constant fear of judgment or failure. Another remarkable aspect of aging is the depth of relationship. While youth is often filled with fleeting connections, age brings a deeper understanding of what it means to truly connect with others. Friendships become richer, conversations become more meaningful, and you learn to cherish the people who have stood by you through different seasons of life. You no longer waste time on superficial relationships, but instead invest in those that bring genuine joy and support. Despite the many gifts of aging, society continues to glorify youth as the ultimate ideal. The fear of aging is not just about physical appearance. It is rooted in the fear of becoming irrelevant, of losing purpose, of being forgotten. But the truth is, purpose is not confined to youth. Some of the most influential, creative, and successful people in history achieved their greatest accomplishments later in life. Experience, wisdom, and resilience do not fade with age. They grow stronger. The value you bring to the world is not determined by how young you look, but by the impact you make. The real challenge is not aging itself, but the way people perceive it. Those who fear aging the most are often the ones who have not truly lived. They spend so much time trying to stay young that they forget to embrace the beauty of where they are. But those who accept aging as a natural and valuable part of life find that it brings a sense of peace and fulfillment that youth could never offer. Society may try to convince you that youth is the only time worth celebrating, but the truth is, every stage of life has its own unique beauty. The key is to embrace it fully, to appreciate the journey, and to recognize that the best years are not behind you. They are wherever you choose to find meaning, purpose, and joy. Fear of aging is one of the most common yet misguided fears that people experience. It is deeply ingrained in society, reinforced by media, culture, and even personal experiences. The idea that getting older means becoming weak, irrelevant, or undesirable creates an unnecessary sense of dread. People spend years trying to resist the inevitable, investing in anti-aging products, undergoing cosmetic procedures, and constantly comparing themselves to their younger selves. But the fear of aging is an illusion, a product of conditioning rather than reality. The truth is, you do not fade with time, you evolve. Every year, every experience, and every challenge contributes to making you a more complete version of yourself. Aging is not about losing something, it is about gaining. With time, you accumulate wisdom, knowledge, and a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. The things that once seemed important fade into the background, replaced by a sense of clarity about what truly matters. The pressures of youth, the need to prove yourself, the obsession with perfection, all of these begin to dissolve as you realize that life is about much more than external validation. The beauty industry and modern culture have convinced people that aging is something to be feared, that wrinkles and gray hair are signs of decline rather than symbols of a life well lived. But these signs of aging are not flaws. They are marks of experience, of laughter, of lessons learned. They tell a story, your story. Every wrinkle is a memory, every scar is proof of resilience, and every gray hair is a reflection of the wisdom you have gained. These are not things to hide or erase, they are things to embrace. One of the biggest misconceptions about aging is that it takes away your strength. In reality, true strength is not found in youth, but in experience. When you are young, you may have physical energy, but energy without wisdom can be reckless. With age, you develop the kind of strength that comes from overcoming difficulties, from facing challenges head-on, and from enduring hardships without giving up. You learn that struggles are not setbacks, but stepping stones to growth. This is the kind of strength that youth cannot provide because it only comes with time. Another false belief that fuels the fear of aging is the idea that getting older means becoming irrelevant. Society often places a heavy emphasis on youth, portraying it as the most valuable phase of life. But in reality, relevance is not determined by age, it is determined by purpose. Some of the most influential people in history made their greatest impact later in life. Their wisdom, experience, and perspective allowed them to contribute to the world in ways that younger individuals could not. The ability to inspire, create, and lead does not diminish with age, it deepens. Aging also brings a sense of freedom that youth does not. When you are young, there is often a fear of judgment, a constant pressure to fit in, and a need to seek approval. But as you grow older, these concerns start to fade. You begin to understand that the opinions of others do not define you, that perfection is an illusion, and that true happiness comes from living in alignment with your own values. This freedom allows you to fully embrace who you are without fear or hesitation. Relationships also evolve with age, becoming more meaningful and fulfilling. In youth, friendships are often built on convenience or shared interests, but as you grow older, you develop deeper connections based on trust, understanding, and mutual respect. You learn to appreciate the people who have been there for you through different stages of life, and you no longer waste time on superficial relationships. The ability to love, to forgive, and to cherish the people who truly matter becomes stronger with age. The fear of aging is a fear of the unknown, but the reality is that aging is not an end, it is a continuation. It is an opportunity to live with greater wisdom, purpose, and authenticity. The illusion that aging makes you less is just that, an illusion. The truth is, you do not become less as you age, you become more. More experienced, more self-assured, more aware of what truly matters. Once you let go of the fear and embrace the process, you realize that aging is not something to resist, it is something to celebrate. The way you perceive aging determines how you experience it. If you see it as a decline, a slow loss of everything valuable, then that is exactly how it will feel. But if you see it as an evolution, a transition into a new and powerful phase of life, then aging becomes something entirely different. It becomes an opportunity. Perspective is everything. It shapes your reality, influences your emotions, and determines whether you embrace each year with gratitude or resist it with fear. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with aging is because they associate it with loss of youth, loss of beauty, loss of physical ability. But aging is not just about what changes on the outside, it is about what grows on the inside. The problem is not aging itself, but the way people have been taught to think about it. Society has conditioned people to fear getting older as if youth is the only time that matters. Advertisements sell the idea that beauty fades with age, that energy disappears, that opportunities shrink. But these are not facts, they are just perceptions. And perceptions can be changed. Imagine two people reaching the same stage in life. One feels bitter, constantly longing for the past, believing that their best years are behind them. The other feels empowered, embracing every moment, knowing that experience has given them strength and wisdom they never had before. The difference between these two people is not their age, it is their perspective. One sees aging as a loss, the other sees it as a gain. And that difference in mindset changes everything. Aging is not a punishment, it is a privilege. Not everyone gets to experience growing older. Yet those who do often take it for granted. They focus on the things they no longer have, instead of appreciating the things they have gained. Time teaches lessons that youth cannot. It reveals what truly matters. It strips away the distractions and superficial concerns, allowing you to focus on what is real. But if you approach aging with resistance, you miss out on all of these gifts. You spend so much time fearing the future that you forget to live in the present. The truth is, every stage of life has its own unique beauty, but you have to be willing to see it. Youth has its energy, but it also comes with uncertainty. People in their younger years often struggle with self-doubt, comparison, and the pressure to prove themselves. With age comes confidence, clarity, and a sense of self that only time can provide. The things that once seemed urgent and stressful no longer hold the same power over you. You begin to realize that life is not about impressing others, it is about being true to yourself. Another powerful shift in perspective comes from understanding that aging does not mean the end of opportunities. Some of the most successful, creative, and inspiring people in history achieved their greatest work later in life. Experience gives you the ability to see life from a deeper, wiser perspective. You have more to offer, more to teach, and more to contribute. The world does not stop valuing you just because you've gotten older. The only thing that changes is how you see yourself. Your body may change with age, but your mindset determines how you experience those changes. If you focus only on what you have lost, you will feel powerless. But if you focus on what you have gained, wisdom, resilience, perspective, you will feel stronger than ever. People who embrace aging with a positive mindset live more fulfilling lives because they do not waste time resisting what is natural. They do not see aging as something to fight against, but as something to accept and appreciate. At the heart of it all, aging is just another chapter in the story of your life. It is not an end, it is a continuation. But the way you write that chapter depends entirely on how you see it. If you believe that aging is a slow decline, that is what you will experience. But if you believe that aging is an opportunity for growth, wisdom, and deeper meaning, then that is exactly what it will become. Perspective is everything. It does not change reality, but it changes how you experience reality. And that makes all the difference. Regret is one of the heaviest burdens a person can carry, and nothing amplifies it more than the realization that time has slipped away. As people grow older, they often look back at their lives and wonder about the chances they never took, the dreams they never pursued, and the time they wasted on things that never really mattered. Regret is not about the things people did, it is about the things they did not do. It is about the words left unsaid, the risks never taken, the love never fully expressed. And as the years pass, the weight of those regrets only grows heavier. Time is relentless. It moves forward whether you are ready or not, whether you use it wisely or let it pass unnoticed. Many people live under the illusion that they have all the time in the world. They believe that someday they will chase their dreams, fix broken relationships, and live the life they truly want. But someday is never guaranteed. And the longer people wait, the harder it becomes to change. One of the biggest sources of regret in old age is the realization that fear held them back. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping outside of their comfort zone. They wanted to start a business, but they were afraid of what people would say. They wanted to travel the world, but they convinced themselves that it was not the right time. They wanted to tell someone how much they loved them, but they waited too long. And now all they have left is the thought of what could have been. People often think that avoiding risks keeps them safe, but in reality, avoiding risks is the greatest risk of all. Because when you reach the later years of your life, you do not regret the things that did not work out, you regret the things you never even tried. Failure is temporary, but regret lasts forever. Every missed opportunity, every moment of hesitation, every excuse made instead of action taken, these are the things that come back in the quiet moments of reflection when there is no more time to change them. Another painful regret people experience as they age is not prioritizing relationships. They were too busy chasing success, too caught up in their own worries, too distracted by things that ultimately did not matter. They did not spend enough time with their parents before they were gone. They did not cherish their friendships. They let small arguments create distance instead of working to heal them. And now, they would give anything to go back and choose differently. Success, wealth, and accomplishments mean nothing if, in the end, you feel alone. The moments that truly matter in life are not the ones spent working late hours or obsessing over material things. They are the moments spent laughing with loved ones, creating memories, and being present. But too often, people only realize this when it is too late. Regret also comes from not living authentically. Many people spend their entire lives trying to fit into a mold that society has created for them. They follow a path they did not choose, pursue goals that do not truly fulfill them, and suppress their real passions out of fear of judgment. They live according to what others expect, rather than what they truly want. And then one day they wake up and realize they never actually lived for themselves. They realize they have spent decades trying to meet expectations that did not even matter in the end. The tragedy of regret is that it is irreversible. You cannot go back in time and make different choices. You cannot rewrite the past. But what you can do is make sure that the rest of your life is not filled with the same regrets. Every day is an opportunity to choose differently, to take the risk, to express love, to prioritize what truly matters. The pain of discipline, the discomfort of stepping outside of your comfort zone, the effort required to build a meaningful life, all of these are temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. The greatest lesson that aging teaches is that time is not something to be taken for granted. The future is not promised, and the past cannot be changed. But the present, the choices you make right now, determine whether with peace or with regret. The question is not whether you will grow old. The question is whether you will grow old with the satisfaction of knowing you truly lived. Society has created a false belief that happiness is tied to youth, that as people age, their joy and excitement for life begin to fade. But the truth is, happiness is not about age, it is about perspective. The way people experience life has less to do with the years they have lived and more to do with the mindset they choose to carry. Some of the happiest people in the world are not the youngest or the richest. They are the ones who have learned how to find joy in every season of life. Happiness is not something that disappears with age. In fact, many people find deeper, more meaningful happiness as they grow older. In youth, happiness is often tied to achievement, to proving oneself, to chasing goals that society says are important. But with age comes the realization that happiness is not found in the external, it is found in the internal. It is found in gratitude, in connection, in the simple moments that are too often overlooked when people are too busy chasing something bigger. One of the greatest gifts of aging is clarity. When people are young, they often get lost in the pursuit of things they believe will make them happy: money, status, approval. But as they get older, they begin to see through the illusion. They realize that the things they once thought were so important do not hold as much weight anymore. They begin to shift their focus from what the world expects of them to what truly fulfills them. And in that shift, they find a new kind of happiness, one that is not dependent on external circumstances, but on internal peace. There is a freedom that comes with aging, a freedom that allows people to fully embrace who they are without the fear of judgment. In youth, people often struggle with self-doubt, constantly worrying about how they are perceived, whether they are doing enough, whether they measure up. But as they grow older, they begin to let go of these insecurities. They realize that life is too short to be lived for the approval of others. They stop trying to fit into molds that were never meant for them. They begin to focus on what brings them joy, regardless of whether it aligns with society's expectations. Happiness in aging also comes from learning to live in the present. When people are young, they often live in the future, always striving for the next goal, the next milestone, the next achievement. But as they grow older, they begin to appreciate the present in a way they never did before. They realize that joy is not something that exists in some distant future. It is something that is available right now in the small, ordinary moments that make up a life. Relationships also take on a new depth with age. In youth, friendships are often built on convenience, on shared interests that may not last. But as people grow older, they begin to value quality over quantity. They cherish the relationships that have stood the test of time, the connections that go beyond surface-level interactions. They learn to appreciate the people who truly matter, and they invest in relationships that bring meaning and fulfillment. Another source of happiness in aging is the ability to let go of unnecessary stress. When people are younger, they often carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. They stress over things that, in the grand scheme of life, do not really matter. But with time, they gain perspective. They learn to choose their battles wisely, to let go of things they cannot control, to focus on what truly brings them peace. This shift in mindset creates a deep sense of contentment, one that is not easily shaken by the ups and downs of life. The idea that happiness fades with age is nothing more than a myth. In reality, happiness deepens with time. It transforms from something fleeting to something lasting, from something external to something internal. The key is in shifting perspective, learning to embrace each stage of life for what it is, rather than mourning what it is not. True happiness is not found in youth. It is found in living fully, embracing every season, and understanding that the best moments of life are not behind you, they are still being created. One of the biggest challenges of aging is dealing with change. Life never stays the same, and as people grow older, they experience shifts in nearly every aspect of their existence, physically, emotionally, socially, and mentally. These changes can feel overwhelming, and for many, they create a deep sense of loss. But the key to navigating aging successfully is learning how to adapt. Those who resist change struggle the most. With those who embrace it with an open heart find new opportunities, new joys, and a new sense of purpose. Change is inevitable. It does not ask for permission, nor does it wait for someone to be ready. It happens whether people want it to or not. Friendships shift, careers evolve, health fluctuates, and priorities change. The people who once seemed constant in life may move away, grow apart, or pass on. The body may not function the way it once did. The world itself moves forward at a relentless pace, often making those who resist change feel left behind. But instead of seeing these changes as losses, they can be seen as transitions, necessary evolutions that open the door to something new. The people who age gracefully are not the ones who try to hold on to the past, but the ones who embrace the present with courage and acceptance. They do not waste energy wishing things were the way they used to be. Instead, they focus on what they can still do, what they can still learn, and how they can continue growing. They understand that life is not about staying the same, it is about continuously becoming. One of the most noticeable changes with age is physical. The body naturally slows down, energy levels shift, and certain activities that once felt effortless may now require more effort. For many, this can be a frustrating experience, leading to feelings of discouragement or even helplessness. But the key to dealing with physical change is not to focus on what is lost, but to maximize what remains. Strength may change, but movement is still possible. Energy may fluctuate, but proper care and lifestyle adjustments can help maintain vitality. The body is incredibly adaptive, and those who treat it with care through exercise, healthy eating, and mindfulness can still experience strength, flexibility, and endurance well into old age. Emotional change is another reality of aging. As time passes, people experience loss in different forms: the loss of loved ones, the loss of certain dreams, and sometimes even the loss of a clear sense of identity. Many struggle with feelings of loneliness or a sense that they are no longer as relevant or needed as they once were. But these emotional challenges can be met with resilience. The key is to find new ways to stay connected, to seek out relationships and activities that bring joy, and to continue engaging with the world. Loneliness is not just about being alone, it is about feeling disconnected. And disconnection can be overcome by making a conscious effort to remain engaged, whether through friendships, community involvement, or personal passions. Mental adaptability is also crucial. The world does not stop moving forward, and neither should the mind. Learning new things, staying curious, and being open to new experiences are what keep people mentally sharp and emotionally vibrant. Those who continue to challenge their minds, whether through reading, learning new skills, or engaging in meaningful conversations, find that their sense of purpose and fulfillment does not fade with age. Instead, it evolves into something deeper. Aging is not about resisting change, but about learning to flow with it. Those who struggle the most are often the ones who spend their time fighting against the natural course of life. But those who accept change and adapt to it with an open heart find that life still has so much to offer. It may not look the same as it once did, but that does not mean it has lost its value. Every season of life brings new lessons, new experiences, and new opportunities. The choice is whether to resist them or to embrace them with courage and curiosity. The legacy a person leaves behind is not measured by wealth, status, or accomplishments. It is measured by the impact they have on others. As people grow older, they begin to reflect on what truly matters. And one of the greatest realizations is that life is not just about what you achieve for yourself, but about what you contribute to the world. Legacy is not about leaving behind material possessions. It is about leaving behind a piece of yourself in the lives of those you touch. It is about the wisdom you share, the kindness you show, and the love you give. Aging brings a unique perspective. The years of experience, the lessons learned, the struggles overcome, all of these things shape a person into someone who has valuable insights to offer. But too often, people underestimate the power of their own influence. They assume that only great leaders or historical figures leave legacies, when in reality, every person has the ability to make a difference. A kind word, a helping hand, a moment of encouragement, these small acts of love and wisdom ripple through generations in ways that can never be measured. The people who are remembered the most are not always the ones who accomplished the biggest things, but the ones who made others feel seen, valued, and loved. A teacher who inspired their students to dream bigger, a grandparent who passed down stories filled with wisdom, a friend who stood by someone in their hardest moments. These are the legacies that truly last. They are not written in history books, but they are written in the hearts of those who were touched by them. Many people spend their lives chasing success, believing that the more they accumulate, the greater their legacy will be. But as they grow older, they realize that success without significance is empty. Money can be spent, fame fades, and achievements can be forgotten, but the impact a person makes on others remains. The things that truly endure are the values instilled, the kindness shown, and the lives uplifted. One of the greatest regrets people face in old age is realizing they did not invest enough in what truly matters. They look back and wish they had spent more time with loved ones, had deeper conversations, and made more of an effort to be present for the people who needed them. They realize that their true legacy is not in what they owned, but in how they loved. And while time may not allow them to change the past, it always allows them to shape the present. Every moment is an opportunity to create a lasting impact. True legacy is not just about looking back, it is also about looking forward. It is about teaching, mentoring, and inspiring the next generation to be better, to live with purpose, and to make their own impact. It is about passing on wisdom, sharing experiences, and guiding others to navigate life with strength and integrity. Every person has knowledge that someone else can benefit from, and every person has the power to shape the future through the lessons they leave behind. The most fulfilling lives are the ones that are lived with the intention of making a difference. Not through grand gestures, but through everyday acts of kindness and wisdom. A smile that brightens someone's day, advice that helps someone make a better decision, encouragement that pushes someone to keep going. These are the things that shape a person's legacy. And when the final chapters of life are written, these are the things that will truly matter. The question is not whether a person will leave a legacy, because everyone leaves one. The question is what kind of legacy they will leave. Will leave one of love, wisdom, and kindness, or one of regret for time wasted and relationships neglected? The answer lies in the choices made every single day. Because legacy is not something created at the end of life, it is something built with every action, every word, and every moment spent making a difference in the lives of others.